Welcome back and thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Now we want to talk about the lecturers' strike, which has been going on, I think, for 2 weeks or more. It should be on day 16, that has left students stranded and, of course, paralysis in public universities. What exactly is the problem? Well, joining me for this particular conversation is Cyprian Ombati, who is the National Vice Chairman at the University's Academic Staff Union. Good evening and thank you so much for making time for us. Straight to it. You are on strike in September. There was a return to work formula that was agreed on September 26th.
Yes.
What went wrong? Why are we back to where we started?
Yes, the main reason why we are back on this strike, which is now day 16 today, is because when we had our strike, which ended on 26th of September, we signed a return to work formula. In that return to work formula, we agreed that because the government, through Ministry of Labour and Education, Treasury, they came together because at that time, they formed an interministerial committee. So they agreed with us that now, call off this strike, so that we have agreed we are going to give you, your members are going to get 10% increment for grades 1 to 12, and 7% increment for grades, higher grades of 13 to 15. There was also a 4% automatic annual increment. And the new salaries were to be effected come the salary of October. So we agreed. In the same return to work formula, we agreed that a technical team constituting UASU and IPUCCF will move with speed to simulate the tables and come up with the new salaries to be effected in October. So that we did in Machakos, and we got the new figures for the new salaries, taking into effect the components in the return to work formula. And the result of that was the cost of the CBL was to consume 9.7 billion.
Yes.
This is money for all workers in public universities, both lecturers and those who are in administrative and support staff.
Yes.
Totaling to about close to 30,000 workers for the 2 years of the CBA. Because the first 2 years were frozen because of SRC. So having done all that, we came back from Machakos. We met the interministerial. This is the figure, these are the tables. Then all of a sudden they said, no, what we have is 4.3 billion. So they started shifting the goals, changing the game, and saying 4.3 is the billion is what this CBA should consume.
Yes.
So that is where we differed, and because of that now we are on strike, so that they honor the return to work formula. Because we honor the return to work by calling off the strike so that they effect the new salaries come end of October. Was
this the only issue, or were there other grievances by the union?
There are other grievances which the PS again wrote the letter comprising of interministerial committee, which constitute National Treasury, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Labour, SRC, Attorney General's office. In other words, there was nobody in government who was left out. The other items that they were to look at within 30 days, that's what we agreed in the return to work formula. They were to look at issues like car loan and mortgage, which lecturers in public universities are not getting, or workers in public universities are not enjoying those benefits.
Yes.
Yet they started in the year 2015 and they were given by SRC. The other one was recruitment of new staff, additional lecturers. When you look at the numbers of lecturers in public universities, we are about 10,000. Vis-a-vis student numbers, which are now heading to 700,000. So when you look at the student ratio in universities world over, is given. So that student ratio demands that for now, Kenya requires to have about 25,000 lecturers as of today. And come there 2030, the number of lecturers in university should be 35,000.
Okay.
So the government is busy preparing in the basic education while ignoring the higher sector. Yet these students are coming to university in the year 2029 and they'll meet a shock of their life, whereby a class will be 500 plus or 1,000 students. Yet in the lower levels, they are a class of 1 teacher to 45 students.
Okay.
But when, in fact, the higher you go, the ratio should be narrower. so that you meet only a class that has a small number, which you can be able to teach them, if it is engineering, medicine, science, and whatever, and they come out to be very competent. So we are asking for additional lecturers, about 15,000, so that the government to give us a roadmap. We were also asking, in universities, there are no promotions. University is one sector where you can work. People are working from there 2001 to date in the same grade for 23 or so years.
Okay, and we'll talk about the teacher-to-student ratio. Let's just go back to the return-to-work formula. I mean, 30 days was the agreed period, yes,
to conclude.
So after 30 days, have there been any other negotiations with the government?
When we issued the strike that now we are in day 16, yes, they have tried to call us at interministerial, but now they are calling us, trying us now to tell, changing the goalpost by saying it is not 9.7 billion, it is 4.3. And we are asking them that it is clear in the return to work formula. Where are you coming with 4.3? They are telling us that this is the amount you people should accept, we give you. But we are telling them in the return to work formula, it is not there. And remember, our return to work formula is a document of court. It is now a legal entity that you cannot violate. But them, they want to violate the same by saying 4.3 is what we'll offer you people, and then it will cater for those issues. If you take that 4.3, then our members are going to get about 1%. It will not be 10 or it will not be 7.
You maintain it has to be 9.7 billion as it was indicated in the return to work formula. And IPUCCF maintains 4.3 billion. What happens if they stick to the 4.3 billion?
That is where we are saying that one now it is a wrong precedent that is going to be set. We don't want the government to look to be mischievous, to look not to be truthful. You know, these are public officers. And Kenya has not run short of genuine and honest people who can work for government. We have several of them. In fact, they can take many of them from the university. We have them. So what we are saying is let us stick to what is there. We want justice. If you have told me you are giving me 7%, give me my 7%. If you have said you are giving me 4% automatic annual increment, give me that. In the civil service, those are our peers. When you compare, for them, actually, we are asking for 4% automatic annual increment, whereas they are getting up to 8.9%. These are the same people who have been given car loan and mortgage. We are not given. What we are asking, who bewitched dons in this country? Must we always fight for us to get a benefit that is given elsewhere freely? Even this CBA, when you look at other sectors of government, you are the people in the media. Tell me, did you ever see anybody go on the street? Never. But when it comes to dons at the university, they must go for a strike in order for them to start negotiations. We must go on strike in order for them to implement. We must go on strike in order for them to pay us. What we are asking, let the government be genuine. Treat us as citizens of this country, not as second class or third class citizens whom you look at and say, now for those ones, we don't have anything to give. Even this CBA, we were supposed to enjoy it from July 2023, like others. We are almost ending. We have not started. Another CBA is coming next year, 25, 29. And I can tell you, when you look at teachers, already now they have started preparations to negotiate for new salary come July next year for a new CBA. But when it comes to us, nobody's bothered. We haven't finished this one.
Okay. So the Labour Court had declared that the ongoing lecturer strike is illegal, and we have seen lecturers from more universities being given, suspension letters, and equally UON has told their staff to go back to work. Yes. So what happens if the government doesn't meet you where you want them to meet?
What we are saying is let the government be the first one to honor. A return to work formula is equal before court, like that's just court order. Why are they not honoring what we signed? In fact, it is them. If you look at it, there is the CS labor signature, there is a labor, the PS education, PS labor, they have signed. And us, when we went to Machakos, we calculated. In fact, what you are being told here in media is wrong. In Machakos, the tables were signed between both parties, UASU and the government side represented by IPUCCF. And it came to 9.7 billion. Why change goalpost? And remember, you cannot give a figure and at the same time percentage. You usually give in negotiations a percentage. You apply the number of staff posts. Then using that, you arrive at a final figure, which the government now pays. What we are asking, let the return to work be honored, just like they want us to honor everything else that we agreed or we signed.
But what about the students who are missing out on education? What happens then?
The students, in fact, most of them are, again, their parents are these lecturers. So the lecturers are suffering double. They are not able to pay fees for their students. Again, their students are also missing going to class. Because most of these people in senior offices, their students are not at the university. That's why they are not bothered. Most of them, their students are studying abroad. We know that. We see them going for graduations. So that is why people are not interested in solving this matter. Moi University has been out. This is almost the 8th or 9th week. Nobody has bothered to see how to solve that crisis. Why are they out? The same thing I'm talking about, discrimination, where somebody deducts your own money and they decide not to remit it to the bank.
Okay.
Those are the problems we have at the university. Kenyans who are watching us, you can only sympathize with us. Whoever can reach the government, because as we have tried, kindly tell them it is a high time. Let us not discriminate. At the university is a workplace where you would not want to be. We have another group called tutorial fellows in the university. These are now the modern slaves of the university. These are people who work. They are not paid their gratuity. These are people who are overworked. Why? Because they are on contract. When you try to ask, why am I being overworked? Why am I not paid my dues? Why am I not doing ABCD? When you ask all those things, you are told that we will not renew your contract. So what we are saying is a high time. The government needs to have a talk, and a serious one, especially on higher education, so that this country can be able to develop only if the education sector wholesome is looked at. But giving serious attention only to basic education, whereas you are not giving it to higher education sector, the wholesome or the end point of that is there is no education in Kenya.
So what's the end game?
The end game is let the government honor what we signed. Why must we fight for them to pay our dues?
Okay.
Our partners or our peers in other sectors did not fight anywhere to get. And that is the serious thing we ask. And we want media also to help us. Each and every time we have, look, 2010, 2013, we had to go for a strike in order to get a CBA. 2013-17, we had to go a strike to get a CBA. 2017-2021, we went on strike to get a CBA. 2021-25, we are going on strike. And I've told you, other sectors, they don't even go on strike. In fact, they see a pay slip changing and they are told, here is your money. Your pay has
really,
changed.
Because even doctors strike. But I get your point. And I guess that's your final word as we're out of time. Thank you so much, Cyprian Ombati, University Academic Staff Union, National and Vice Chairman. Of course, we could continue keeping this conversation going and, you know, keeping our lens on this particular developing story. What exactly will happen? Will the paralysis in the universities end? Only time will tell, as of course lecturers vow to continue with their strike until their demands are met.